Holy and gracious God, we seek your Spirit, we seek your presence, we seek your word this day. Move among us and be with us now. We pray in Christ's name, amen. Before I begin preaching, one more piece that I forgot during my announcements, and that is because of the chance that any one of us could be a carrier, I'm not planning on doing in-person home calls, homebound people. Instead, I'm going to try and make a lot of phone calls. I have a list of shut-ins and homebound members, but if you know of anyone who really could use a phone call, again, send me a note, send me an email, I'll add it to my list. I'll make a lot of phone calls this week while I'm homeschooling the kids. So let me know if you think I don't know about somebody so I can get them called this week. It's not as good as visiting in person, but it's probably healthier for everyone involved for the next couple of weeks. There's a preaching axiom that I think about occasionally when preparing for each Sunday. It is simply this: you, that is the preacher, which is me, should think about what you need to hear. Where are you? What sermon do you need this week? Often that sermon will be what the congregation also needs to hear. So, where am I this morning? Oh my, I have all the feelings. I'm feeling all the feelings. A lot of nerves and anxiety, not just that, but a lot of nerves, because, like I assume many of you, I have a lot of questions that don't have easy answers. A lot of questions that I grapple with. So, for instance, should we even be gathering together in person, or should we be looking more for online and Zoom or Facebook live stream ways of worshiping the next few weeks? I will tell you, I have colleagues and we have fellow churches that are doing both of them, both near us and far away. So there's no easy answer. It's a hard question with no easy answers. I have a question of how well I will function as a homeschool teacher for the next 4 days to my 3 young ones, and how I even begin to homeschool my children over the next 4 days, while also functioning as a pastor in the midst of a national sense of anxiety and crisis, and how I serve the congregation while also doing all to help the kids with their schoolwork they've been assigned. I sort of have a clue about that one, actually. It's called lots of late nights to do the work that I couldn't do while helping to do the schoolwork in the mornings. But mostly it's a hard question with no easy answers. I wonder about how long we as a nation will have this lingering sense of worry, about whether or not the actions we are taking as a community and as a nation are enough to flatten the curve. I worry about the many people in my life, both family and members of this congregation, who are in the at-risk category for this new virus. I have questions, but no easy answers. And those are just the serious ones. Make no mistake, there is a part of me, a smaller part of me, but still a part of me, that also wonders how many of my favorite TV shows won't finish their season as production is shut down in Hollywood. And when we'll have baseball this season. Those aren't easy answers either. Now, they're not as important to the question as other ones, but still, they're the questions I grapple with. In other words, so as I talked about with the kids, I'm like a person who's been outside in the middle of summer, who's been working or running or playing or walking, person who is severely parched and who desperately needs a cold drink of water. That's where I am. Where are you? So here's the good news. In our gospel reading this morning, Jesus offers us just that glass of water. He says to us, I am the water of life. Those who drink of me will never thirst again. Indeed, will become within them a spring of water that will lead to eternal life. I am the water of life, Jesus says. Don't know about you, but I need to hear those words a lot over the next couple of weeks, to let it wash over me. Point to that I did as I was preparing for this week. I took a walk, and those words gave me comfort in the middle of an evening of late anxiety. I am the water of life. Okay, here's the understatement of the decade, well, or at least of the morning. There's a lot in this passage. Lot in this passage. Heck, there's a lot in just these couple of verses I just quoted. For instance, what does it mean to say Jesus is the water of life? How do we access and get energized by that water, that spring that Jesus says will be within us? Why would our thirst end, and do we even want that? Or is it better if we stay thirsty, keep being thirsty for justice and righteousness and God's shalom for a world and society that God calls us to live into? There's a lot in this passage. This morning, I wanted to sit and rest and take Jesus at his word. I want to rest on this promise he gives us. I am the water of life. Friends, we are in a stressful moment as a nation, as a world, a time of national anxiety, and I don't know what the future holds. I don't know when the current crisis will feel like it's over, when normal will once again be what we describe our lives as. I don't know how long school is going to be out or what the numbers of infections will look like today or tomorrow. I don't even know when the Cardinals and Reds will play baseball again. And trust me, I wish I did, because we all need distractions in our lives. But I do know this. Jesus is the water of life. Jesus is the one who nourishes our souls, who gives comfort and grace. And Jesus is here in this moment of crisis, just as he has always been. When we feel parched and worn out and are having trouble carrying on, Jesus is the water of life. When the known unknowns threaten to undo us, when our anxiety is up to here at its highest point, Jesus is the water of life. We need to just breathe, but we need to take a great big gulp and recenter ourselves. Jesus is the water of life. What does water do? It refreshes us. It soothes us. It brings life. It makes us feel better. It makes us feel more connected. A cool dip in the pool. A tall glass of water. Or a popsicle, as the kids said, which is not quite water, but still. A hot bath. All of these are comforting images. Images that promote healing and life and peace. They're all water images. They're images that connect, in my mind, that Jesus is the water of life. I believe that with everything else that's in this passage, there is at least this promise by Jesus, that he is the one who brings life and life everlasting. Life and life to the fullest. Life and life as God always meant for it to be. I believe that in this passage, Jesus is reminding us that he is the one in whom we can place our trust even in our darkest and most anxious moments. In this passage, Jesus offers hope to a woman at the well who needed that hope. And he also offers that same hope to us. I am the water of life, Jesus says. Water from God, water that gives us his presence, water that renews our life in times of despair or crisis. Water from God that brings new life. That's how the Israelites saw water from God. In our passage in Exodus this morning, we find them in a place maybe similar to our own. They stood in need of renewal. They stood at the beginning of a journey that they didn't know the end of, one they didn't know the length of time of. They stood thirsty and afraid and cried out to God. God answered their prayer. God gave them water in the wilderness, water to renew their bodies, water to renew their souls as they approached Mount Sinai. God provided for their needs and gave them the water of life, just as God does for us, because that's what God does. When God's people turn to God, God is there. When we turn to God, God is there. God is there offering us renewal. God is there offering us new life. God is there offering us the water of life. So God did for the Israelites in the wilderness. So God did for a Samaritan at a well. So God did on Calvary's mountain. So God did through an empty tomb on Easter morning. So God will do for us in this moment of our lives. So God will do for us in all the moments to come. I am the water of life, Jesus says. Friends, I need that water today. Maybe you do too. If so, hear and rest in the good news that Jesus is indeed that water. Hear and rest in the good news that Jesus provides. Hear and rest in the good news that Jesus refreshes us. And most of all, hear and rest in the good news that this water, the water of new and everlasting life, is with us always. During this moment of crisis and anxiety and fear, and during the moments of hopefulness that will come in the days to come. And all the days ahead, we can trust in this promise. Whenever we bring our thirsty, weary selves to God, Jesus will be once again there saying, I am the water of life. Thanks be to God. Amen. Let us sing our song.